On this episode, going cheapie cheapie. Hey everybody, this is the Quarter Show. Today we're going to be talking about going cheapie cheapie, what that means, and sort of kind of run you through it, why it's mistakes, things like this. So, in business, obviously, it's tempting when you're buying a product. You're trying to get something. You're trying to get a service or product or whatever, and you want to get the cheapest. You want to get the cheapest price, right? You want to get, hopefully you're trying to get a deal because we're all trying to save cash. We're all trying to save cash as much as possible, and you want to stretch your dollar as far as it can go. But the truth is that it's usually a big mistake, and here's why. If we take an analogy and we say, somebody's trying to get their house painted, and I'm trying to get my house painted. I want a fantastic job, but then I haggle this guy down like crazy, and I haggle to the cheapest price. Let's say his rate is $2,000, and I get him down to $1,200. Is this guy going to care about quality? Is he going to care about specs, paint specs on my house and the wall and everything like that? Is he really going to do the best job? And then after the fact, when there are mistakes or there's something that needs to touch up, am I going to be able to call this person and say, hey, Chuck, listen, there's some spots and things like this I want you to touch up? He's not going to be there. He's not going to be there. He's not going to be there to service me. He's not going to do his best work. Right? And I'm not going to be happy with it anyway. So then I look at it and go, well, I spent $1,200 and I saved $800, but I'm going to have to go get this job done again, or I'm going to have to spend my own time and fix everything he didn't do. Right? And so, I think human nature, I think by human nature, we're tempted to get as cheap as humanly possible that we can possibly get, and sort of haggle, where can we get it cheaper? But then we lose sight of where does the quality come from? What about customer service? What about follow through? What about just human nature? Because if I haggle this one person down, yes, it's a business deal, but we can't forget that this person's actually a human being, right? In their head, they're thinking, they're bitter about it. They're bitter about it, right? And then they almost subconsciously don't do their best work.
I mean, right? I'm a pretty upbeat guy, but there are 3 or 4 clients who I allowed to go quite cheap with Richter, and it did not make me feel good.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't feel upset at them. I felt upset about the deal.
Yeah.
I felt upset about what I had done and allowed, and I didn't like it, and I did it for money, and it's never a good reason to do it, and it felt bad. Again, like, I didn't feel bad about them. I get it, but
right.
It just soured things, and
it does. And then
I don't work to re-sign them. I don't work to help them further. I don't work as hard as I would because we're here to help.
Yeah, right? You don't want to go the extra mile.
And you think, well, you didn't work to re-sign them and make more for Richter. No, I didn't work to help them as much. To sell more.
Yeah, not because you're greedy. Not because you're greedy or you want to get more money or whatever. It's because you felt like you got kind of shafted. You got a little shafted on the overall price, and you're like, and here's the other thing about it. Factually, it doesn't afford, when you give your price away so cheap, let's say somebody haggles you and you give it away so cheap, it doesn't afford the ability to do quality control, right? It cuts out quality control altogether. It cuts out customer service, a lot of customer service. You can't afford to deliver quality service. Or quality control. You can't afford to deliver customer service at the level. You can't afford to deliver follow-up. And your people delivering the work or product or whatever can't afford to do it at the level they need to do it at in order to deliver at the right level, which is really where every company needs to be, right? You need to be the Apple of your space, or whatever is the example for you, whether it's the Porsche or the Apple or the BMW, whatever. The point is, you need to be of that your space. You need to take your product to that level, right? And I know we always strive for what we call Richter standard. We're always trying to take our product to a specific level, regardless of what the client says or whatever they pay. We have a standard internally that we're trying to take our work to because it's our own reputation on the line. And if we go so cheap, what we call cheapie cheapie, you go so cheapie cheapie on something, you can't afford quality control, you can't afford customer service, you can't afford follow-up, you can't afford little gifts. Sometimes we'll send a Starbucks card, we'll send a little note in the mail, or we'll send a free What Works book in the mail and write a little thing, hey, thanks for your business. We can't afford all these different things because you got haggled so heavily right, that nobody wins.
Well, just yesterday, a really cool deal that we closed yesterday and stuff. That they asked for a discount, and understandably so. And you told them, we just talked about it the night before, what's going to go into this project, and you told them very, very kindly, nicely, succinctly, absolutely not. Here's why, and we can't deliver the product that you're going to need. And they were like, okay,
You got to be transparent on that, because you have to be transparent on that point, and you have to be upfront. And I know it's awkward because you don't want to come out to the customer and say, you're afraid of losing the deal, right? You're afraid of losing the deal, but you're not going to lose the deal. If you have a great product, you have a great service, and you're going to stand behind your price, it's okay to defend your price, right? It's okay to defend your price because it's worth it.
Yeah, one of the travesties of sales is the artist, who the people are like, well, just, you can just do some work for us, and we're going to get your name out there, and we're going to promote you broadly, and the artist gives away art and stuff like that. No, that's devastating to any business, and it's degrading to the person creating it. So, there's no reason to really bring your price down very much, if at all.
If you're not gouging your price, if you're not gouging people, which I don't believe in, I believe in giving a fair price. Give a fair price. Don't gouge people. If you're not gouging people, then you don't need a discount. You don't need to take your price down so high or so deep. Look, you can give or take. Maybe there's a little movement there, a little discount, but you don't need to haggle it down where it doesn't make any sense. You need to hold your position on it, and you need to protect it, because cheapie, cheapie, cheapie rarely ever works out. When you look at cheapie, cheapie, cheapie for, whether it's you buy a new shirt, you buy a piece of clothing, buy a new suit, you went cheapie, cheapie, cheap on it, it falls apart, it rips, right? You get the paint job, it's not what you wanted. There's speckles, you have to go back afterwards and get it fixed. You buy the cheapest car, it breaks down, you have to get it serviced, so on and so forth. Very rarely in life, there's almost no, when you look across any example in life, there's hardly any scenario where you can look at where the cheapest product actually ended up having quality control and customer service, and it was actually a good product that you were very satisfied with. It never happens, right? Like maybe there's the odd one out there, but generally it doesn't happen. And so you start looking, you go, well, that's true, and then you really get what you pay for. You look at certain products and you're like, you buy a Lexus, let's say, and yeah, it's expensive, it's not overly expensive, it's not extravagant, but it's just a great, it's a great all-around car.
And you take this for example, you take our industry, right, with communication, video and communication, right? And I get it, right? When a person first comes to me, they usually don't fully understand. Why would they? They don't fully understand what video is for them, can be for them, and what Richter brings to the table. Yeah. So they're like, well, I've seen other video shops who charge, this much money or that much money, or it's a little bit less. But the thing is that what they don't know is what we bring to the table. And I won't go into the pitch right now, but our communication strategy is unbelievably strong, and it's something that a prospect who doesn't know won't even know to ask, right? They won't. So it's up to me to sell them. But the point is, you take a car, and you might take and we don't need to necessarily smash on cars, but you take a Kia that looks like a Lexus. It looks like it. Its shell is like that, right? But it's not.
But it's absolutely not.
And you wouldn't know unless you find out, and then you go, well, what am I paying for? And you don't want to go cheap on something like that necessarily.
It is human nature. People are trying to stretch your dollar, trying to get something as cheap as possible.
But you only have waste as opposed to save.
There is.
You don't want to waste money, fine.
You only have so much to work with in your company, but the thing is, that means you need to be innovative. And like, for example, we propose to some of our clients, hey, look, here's American Express Merchant Financing. Take a look at using that. It's a great program, by the way, and you're investing in the right kind of product and going big. So I would challenge you with your own company and with your own sort of modus operandi is like, if you feel like going cheapie cheapie, take a look at that and take a look at the outcome and start from the goal and work backwards. What am I trying to get done? What outcome do I want? What do I absolutely need? And then is price the big factor? Because it's not the big factor, and going cheapie cheapie is quite frankly a flawed approach. It just is. And you can get a win, right? You can get a win by haggling somebody down and winning on price, and losing on the big picture, losing on the product and what you're trying to get done, and then you end up with the wrong company, the wrong outcome, the wrong product, the wrong service, and frustrations, out quality control, out customer service, all these different things that you end up sort of slapping yourself with.
It's a two-sided coin too. Don't let your prospects and clients do it, and don't do it yourself.
Right.
like I treat salespeople extremely well, and if they sell me and I need the product, I buy it, and I rarely haggle because I want both sides of my coin
Be fair.
to be extremely
fair.
clean. I want to be very clean with my clients and prospects,
Yeah.
and I want to be very clean with salespeople selling me. So I try to be very clean on both sides, and I really recommend that.
Yeah. So, look, it doesn't allow you to afford quality. It doesn't allow you to afford customer service. It's usually not the best approach. Don't go cheapy cheapy. We'll have more coming at you soon here. That's the lesson for today. And ask questions in the comments. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. You can go to Twitter. What is it? Twitter's
The Quarter Show.
The Quarter Show. At The Quarter Show on Twitter. Follow us there. Ask questions on Twitter. #quarter, and we will find them and answer them on the show as well. Okay. Thanks very much.